I mean, the kids out there, like a family man supposed to be. And you damn right, I forgot him. That was my own. I was with that nigga when he was broke down, when he had a daddy. How you gonna do me like that?
What's up, y'all? Hold on, let me stop the free share right there. That's right. I was with that nigga when he was broke down, when he was beat down, when he was black and ugly, and then had nothing. How you gonna do me like that? What's going on, y'all? Y'all know who it is. I'm gonna stop it right there because I got some crazy stuff going on here today. But I want to go ahead and get right going and get started. And I want to remind everybody that I'm going to be in Atlanta, Georgia next week. That's right. The world's first and only dark-skinned activist. It's only one. It's only one. Only one. I'm going to be in Atlanta next week. I'm going to be performing my live one-woman play. Y'all just caught a glimpse of it. And a lot of y'all have been watching the little promos that I've been releasing. I'm going to give y'all a fire-ass performance on Saturday, November 17th. And it's an online play. So anybody anywhere in the world can watch. Anybody anywhere in the world can watch. All you need to do to get your tickets is go to my website, darkskinnedactivist.com. But if you live in Atlanta, I'm going to be filming it in Atlanta. So you can come out to the live show if you happen to live in Atlanta. It's going to be at Playback Sounds Studios, located at 675 Metropolitan Parkway, Suite C12. Now, the day before the show, if you live in Atlanta, I'm going to be doing a Darkism Talk. And I've been doing Darkism Talks for years in various spots throughout the United States. So anyway, I'm going to be doing a Darkism Talk at the Ancient African History Museum, located at the same place, 675 Metropolitan Parkway, Suite C3118-B. All right, go to my website, darkskinnedactivist.com, and all of the ticketing information is going to be right there. Get your tickets. So once again, if you live in Atlanta, you can come out to the live show. You can come to the Darkism Talk. If you don't live in Atlanta, you can still watch the online version. So go get your tickets. Darkskinnedactivist.com is going down on Saturday, November 17th. Now, and real quick, I just want to let y'all know I got some issues going on with the maintenance in here. They in and out, so I might have to get up and go talk to the maintenance people. So if y'all see me get up and walk away, that's why. But I got a special guest today here, as you can see. And I'm going to just let you introduce yourself because I think that this is very interesting. And real quick, it came as a result, it came as a result of me being on O'Shea's Sunday Duke It Out. Y'all know what it is. Talking about colorism because I've been the dark-skinned activist. I put the whole darkism, colorism topic online, and that's what it is, the real deal here. And so I was asked to be a part of this panel discussion about, I want to say about 3 weeks ago, talking about colorism and are Black men responsible? And so as a result, the brother that I have today with us, Mr. D. Spears, he watched it and he critiqued it and he made a video. So I'm going to shut up and let you just go and introduce yourself and say what you want to say.
Okay. Again, I go by, you can call me D Spears, you can call me D Durrell. I am a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas. I've been licensed since 2006. I've been in the mental health field for over 18 years. I currently own my own agency, counseling agency. I have multiple locations. I have a location in the Houston area and also in the Galveston County area, which is a suburb of Houston, Texas. and I also have a location that's in Dallas, Dallas, Texas. I primarily specialize in mental health issues with people from the ages of 4 years old on up, in which I deal with issues like anxiety, depression, post traumatic stress, um, traumatic, any type of traumatic or trauma issues. I also deal with things as far as eating disorders, body image type issues. I deal a lot with family issues. I do specialize in providing services for the government. I do a lot of government contracting throughout the state of Texas. Um, I sometimes provide services online as far as providing online counseling for people that are anywhere, within the state of Texas or throughout the United States. I'm originally from Louisiana, from a small town in Louisiana. I received my education from Southern University, which is a historically black college. I moved to Texas in 2003, where I've kind of situated myself and began my career as far as furthering my career and being involved as far as my own business. I took in 2008. I took the step out on faith and decided to leave the job that I was at due to feeling that there was a ceiling on me excelling or getting a higher position based on my race. And so I in the process of doing that, I always had fear of that happening, but it was basically just validated in the process of me applying for a high level position in which many in my at the company thought I was going to get, and the position ended up being given to a person that was not as let's say they didn't have the resume that I had, and so forth. They were just part of a
I'm
good
sorry.
old boy network,
Can I
and
ask
so
you?
they
Can I
yes
ask you if the person were they light skinned, non dark skinned? I just had to ask that. And I'm
they were white they were white.
okay. Darkism. Go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, and so in that process, everybody thought that I was the favorite, and I basically was lukewarm about it because I've seen so many issues where people where the most qualified person don't always get the job, and so even though that happened, I always had a plan to go out on my own and venture and do my own business, and so when that was validated, I wasn't going to get the job. That just basically excelled my drive to start my own company and so forth. So in 2008, I decided to start my own company. I had partners. And eventually, after about 2.5 years, the partners left the company, and I decided to continue the company and allow it to grow. And that was actually the best thing that ever happened. Because once I got full control of the company, I was able to operate the company totally the way I needed to, and the reputation of the company began to increase substantially throughout the Houston area. And so at that point, I saw a lot of accelerated growth, in which I decided to create multiple other locations and so forth. So pretty much, and as we have talked offline and so forth, I do focus on a lot of different issues. I've talked to you about me providing counseling with people that do have issues in regards to racial issues, in regards to darkism and so forth. I upon me making my assessment of you, like I've told you in our conversations, it was in relations to issues that I deal with people that have similar issues, including myself, because I've had issues with darkism and within myself. Growing up as a kid, I was called all kinds of names. I was called, black spot, black this, black that, black tar baby, all of those types of things. I was, called this or that. I had issues in regards to some issues early on within me wanting to date in high school, in which certain young ladies would not date me because of how dark my skin was, and so forth. And really, it could be didn't matter whether they were dark or if they were light. I had to encounter some of those things, and so. In my assessment of you, and as I made um, the video, I kind of took in my own experiences because in the way I reacted and responded to those type of uh, things being told to me, or things like people calling me names and so forth. Um, I explained how my parents instilled in self-esteem in me, and pride, racial pride, in which I would respond back and saying things back. I would fight back. I would say things. If they offended me, I would come right back and say offensive things too. I also fed upon the fact that I was very good in academics. I also was good musically as far as singing and playing various musical instruments. I do come from a musical family, uh, and so I was very I played in various recitals throughout the state of Louisiana and so forth. So I had a lot of positive things about myself, and that my parents instilled and reminded me of, and to a point where I began to become a person that had a lot of confidence. Sometimes I would say a little arrogant or overconfident at times, and at this point as an adult, I feel that, hey, um, you know um, someone calling me a name or saying something in regards to because of how dark I am, I kind of excuse it. I take it as it doesn't really bother me at this point as an adult, as it did, from the point between the ages of 10 and around maybe 15 or 16 years old, where it did bother me a little bit. I began to build upon, this is not the only thing about me, that, there's a lot of things. And if you can't see that, then that's your problem, not my problem. And so that's kind of how I look at things. I'm a person that you know I try to be as positive as I can, and I think that's one of the reasons why I got into therapy, to being a therapist. So I try to reinforce positiveness, so especially for those who look at themselves in the mirror and they don't see beautiful. And I think through my experience, it helps me to help other people build that self-esteem that they need to fight those barriers, or to get through, or to cope or heal from those type of wounds that have been bestowed onto them throughout their childhood on up to adulthood and to the present.
Okay, that was an
Okay.
excellent introduction.
Thank
Real quick, I just want to say I want to remind everybody, because y'all know how I'm real transparent. Had some issues going on here with the maintenance, and so I had to pause the video and go and talk to them. But it's all taken care of now. So, but what I wanted to say that I appreciate about you is that you're dealing with the mental health aspect of, because we had a conversation and you talked
Yes.
about talking about helping people that have issues with darkism and colorism. So
Yes.
what I wanted to say is I appreciate, because I have been doing darkism and colorism counseling for a long time, but
Okay.
I don't have the credentials that you have.
Okay.
So what I wanted to say is I appreciate your work from that vantage point, because I have yet to see a person in the mental health field address darkism and colorism. I've never really
Mhm.
seen them come out and speak specifically and methodically and directly on it. Never ever. In
Mhm.
fact, it's been something that's and I wrote an article a long time ago, and I keep saying this because I gotta get a history of it. And y'all know I'm gonna give y'all the history because I've been the dark skin activist. Way back, I believe around 2013, I wrote an article called Dark Skin Mental Abuse. That's what I call it.
Yeah,
And
it is mental abuse,
yes,
particularly for kids, because it's
yes.
just like when, and I don't want to interject, but this
That's
is something
okay.
that, it's funny that you brought that up, because that was something that I was going to allude to. And when you repeatedly tell somebody, like, say for instance, one of the biggest statements that I deal with dealing with darkism, in regards to a dark skinned kid or an adult who feels that because they're dark they're ugly, is that when people say say words or phrases such as "you black and ugly," that is, we always constitute black being with ugly.
Right.
And if you hear that, constantly hear that, you will begin to think black is ugly. Because how many times I can go in a store, or no matter where I'm at, so forth, I can hear mothers, I can hear kids, or I can hear a brother telling their dark skinned brother or sister, leave me alone. You black, you black and you ugly. Are you ugly and black? Those two words seem to be. You never hear a person say you light and ugly,
Mm-mm.
or or you are whatever brown. And it's always black and ugly. Goes hand in hand with each other. And so when you're a kid and you hear that, that is mental abuse, because you're basically verbally abusing this person, affecting them mentally, and you are basically denouncing, the melanin gift that God gave them, and you're telling them that's ugly. And so that's a big issue. And and I can say in my 18 years of being in this field, whenever I have dealt with clients with these issues, one of the common phrases I would hear, like in regards to what your mom would say to you, or what would your dad say, or what would some of your other family members say to you, they always say, well, they always call me black and ugly. That's something, of course, there are other terms you can use, black this, you black, or I can't see you in the dark, and you dark this or that, or
Hot,
midnight and all that kind of stuff. But black and ugly,
money.
not 9 times out of 10 would come out of the majority of those clients.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the thing is, I wrote this article probably like in 2013. And I'm going to tell you right now, everybody that read this article, people were telling me, they said I was crazy. Now, I'm glad that you're here. You are an educated person with credentials. This is your actual field of expertise.
Yes.
Actually validating that I'm not crazy. I'm gonna pull up that article. It's on Google Plus or something. It's called Dark Skin Mental Abuse Post-Traumatic Dark Skin Syndrome. That's what I called the article.
Okay.
Everybody was like, "You're crazy. Why are you just going around making up stuff?"
Uh-huh.
But this actually happened to me, and I wrote it down and I articulated it, and people were saying I was the crazy one. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, the reason why they said that is because it's hard to deal with gut wrenching truth when you're speaking of something that basically people know that black people do, but
Right.
they don't necessarily deem it as wrong. One of the biggest things, and this is something else I didn't speak to you yesterday on this, but I just wanted to touch upon this today. Notice in comedy, to me, comedy is one of the biggest particularly black comics, when they make black jokes. Your mama's so black that when you do this, they see you, all this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
People laugh at black jokes, but nobody makes a light joke. That's
Nope.
an issue. No one says you're so light, blah blah blah, and it's funny. But why is it the darker that has to be? It has to be somewhat comical. And so, and as we kind of talked about, this is a function of white supremacy. This is our own comedy in a sense has some level of pathology in it, in
Absolutely.
regards to how we see ourselves and how we view dark as not being appropriate for us in a sense.
And that's the thing. When I go back to my because darkism really hit me in starting from elementary school all the way up to high school. Whenever a guy wanted to get cool points with other guys, or they just wanted to be popular or in with the in crowd, they always went in on me being dark skinned. I don't care if it was on the bus. I don't care if it was in class, in the lunchroom. They would always go in. And I distinctly remember in high school, there was several, but there was this one guy. He was really, really black, really dark skinned. And I thought he was like real handsome. I mean, at the time, quiet as kept. But he wanted to keep his cool points and his popularity. And I will never forget, I would go inside the gym and I stopped going. I would just avoid these people, because I knew it was going to go in. And he would just start going in on calling me all kinds of names. Like you said, midnight. Let me tell you, I've been called damn near every name in the book For me, it was dark skin, the nappy hair, and the skinny. All that went together. You understand?
Okay.
So when you talk about the comedy, the thing, and it also started in middle school as well. And I've talked about this extensively, and I was able to confront one of these people.
Good.
And they acted like they didn't know what I was talking about. But anyway, in order to get cool points, it was always at the expense of a dark-skinned person. And in this case, it was myself, which is why I can speak extensively on it. So you talked about comedy. I want to say shout out to Layla Lynn TV. Everybody check her out. She brought me onto her platform because I was talking about Kevin Hart's Darkism and how he made a dark-skinned joke about dark-skinned women, saying that dark-skinned women had bad credit. So it's a running thing, and he's dark-skinned himself.
And I was gonna say he's dark-skinned himself.
That's what, and it is. It's always, not all of the time, because some of the time it comes from non-dark-skinned Black people too. But a majority of the time, in my experience, it comes from dark-skinned people going in on other dark-skinned people to gain cool points, especially in school,
to separate themselves in a sense.
Exactly. And it's just what they don't realize. What they're doing is they're making it bad for other dark-skinned people by sitting there just because you want to be the scapegoat and you want to somehow differentiate yourself, and you don't want the focus to be on you. We used to call it cracking on back in school. You don't want
cracking on them. I heard that term too. Yes.
Yeah, so you flip it and you go in on somebody who you feel is weak. Because I was introverted. I didn't talk a lot. I know I talk a lot now, but I was very introverted in school. I wouldn't say nothing. So I was an easy, dark-skinned, nappy-headed target. They knew that they could come for me and go in on me, and that it was in a sense helping them to get cool points. So that's a problem. I've always had a problem with that. And it created, going back to the dark-skinned mental abuse. I'm trying to find the article as I'm talking here. But what it created in me is a sense of anger and of quiet rage for a long time, and
you repressed a lot of anger that you had towards people because you didn't know how to effectively release that anger without causing pain to somebody else or being violent, and so you needed an outlet. Needed an outlet to let that out.
And you're right, and that's why that's the origin of dark skin activism. It came out of dealing with all of that pain and using a dark skin activism as a constructive release for it, because like you said, it can lead to violence. When I was in school, at some point I did get mad and I did end up getting into a lot of fights.
I can imagine. I was in some fights too.
I ended up getting suspended from school. I ended up getting in trouble, and it wasn't me. I was a nice, quiet person, but after a while, you got to release it. So I wound up getting into fights. I remember I got into fights on the school bus, but I got so many stories I can sit up here and tell y'all. But anyway, I had to release it, and as I got older, I said, you know what, you got to do something constructive, because as we know, studies show, and I've talked about this a million times, that darker skinned people, when they get in, when it comes to crime and punishment, or when it comes to us breaking the rules, we get punished more harshly. And so I knew that I couldn't just lash out like that violently as I got older. I had to find a constructive release. And so that's the origin of dark skin activism, to come out and speak about it through lectures, to speak about it through books, to speak about it through my plays, and to find a release. And somebody said, Rashida, you should be thanking God that you found the release through oratory and through the arts, but there's a lot of other people that don't get release.
Yes.
So, and I kind of just wanted you to kind of speak on that, the people that are actually victims of dark skin, what I call dark skin mental abuse. Because people say you making up terms. Well, yeah, I am making up terms to operationalize and to provide a framework from my experience. So I don't apologize for making up.
You have to use that term dark skin because nobody's making fun of anybody being light skinned.
Right.
You don't see that. I mean, some people may say you red this or that, blah blah blah. But as a whole, nobody look at lighter or whiter as being inadequate.
Right.
No one does that as a whole. As a people, we don't. And so, and that's basically a function of white supremacy taking on the behavior of your oppressor, because we heard it from them first before we started
Right.
ourselves, you know. So that's what that comes from. So we have to learn positive outlets to deal with that, to heal with it, to also put a shield to not allow verbal and words can hurt, but
Oh,
we have to put up a shield to be able to have enough pride in ourselves that the opinions of others don't matter. And that's what I had to train myself to do. Where I didn't allow what other people said to affect me. I learned to say things back. I would find things wrong with them. I would say nasty things back to them that would embarrass them, just as they tried to embarrass me. And so, and so that was my way of dealing. But my way is not always for everybody, So, but I do teach within therapy for people to train to love themselves, to love who they are, and to find the positiveness within themselves. You know, and I think that's a good way of planting that seed to deal with that from a long-term perspective.
and what I want to also say, the video that you made, a lot of people have made videos about me, and some of them
Uh-huh.
like they go in, like they be like, "Oh, they just reinforce everything that I say about darkism." But when I watched your video, and these people they think I don't be watching, but I actually sit there and I watch.
Uh-huh.
That you made, which caught my attention on an intellectual level, on an emotional, intellectual, and academic level, is that you were actually breaking it down from your expertise, from your field of expertise.
Yes.
And that's what I respect. Going back to my own personal academic background, looking at scholars, looking at them, the
Mm-hmm.
scholarly literature and the scholars that have researched that field extensively and broaden our understanding of what our experiences are, to have a person that's in the field, that's that's an expert in the field, to articulate what it is that this person is saying and why it actually validates and adds to people's understanding of colorism and darkism and how it actually impacts a person's everyday life. So that's
Mm-hmm.
another reason why I was happy to talk to you, because
Okay.
you understood how to do that. You understood how to come at me. Because I'll be honest, I mean, everybody just doesn't know how to do
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah,
that's
everybody. The thing about it, to me, I looked at it like, to me, I understood why you because the way, and we talked about this the other day in our conversation. I understood why you reacted, and it was just some of it was justified, but at the same time, as a counselor, I'm looking at things from a long term perspective, because you're going to encounter more darkism. I'm going to encounter darkism as more. You're going to, I mean, there from other black people, adults, whatever. You're going to encounter things. So when I see you, and I'm very proud of you, and where you and your accomplishments and everything that you're doing. And you have to understand, the more and more your you grow in your in your activism, the more and more pushback you're going to get from certain people that
right.
don't want to deal with that. So it's going to get it can get nastier. And so my thing was that, you know I want you to be able to like, say for instance, when people come at you the way they came at you, you can take it all in for what it is, and you just come back with them with intellect. And I'm not telling you not to show passion, but like I talked to you, we want to work on our anger a little bit, and I don't want you to come off as being nasty, and people start saying stuff about you being too masculine and you're not feminine enough, because they don't know you enough to even say those things.
Right.
And so I would say focus more on the verbal backlash of the verbal responses of that, as far as fighting them verbally, instead of letting that emotional aspect of it come out, where they feel you're you're not listening or you're out of control in your presentation. And like I said, I empathize with you in a sense because some of the people that were out of line with things that they said without knowing you personally, they had no right to say some of the things that they said. And so I do understand it, but I wanted to. My purpose was to want to say, okay, that can maybe be a better way long term that you can deal with this. So when you are doing those type, because you're gonna get opposition. It's not going to be the last time someone's going to oppose what you're doing. If you're doing a Sunday Rumble or any other platform you may get on with people who don't agree with you with Darkism and so forth and so forth. And I challenge those who don't agree is to look outside of yourself. And it's hard. It's very difficult for people who never was called a word or called certain things or to feel a certain way. It's very difficult for them to put themselves in somebody's shoe. And you know why? One of the reasons is because they're guilty of the same darkism issue. They're guilty of doing those same things. They
Absolutely.
probably in their lifetime, they don't may not want to admit it, but they probably have called other black people, black, spot black, whatever, you burnt this, burnt that, and they can't deal with that. So
Right.
that's your issue that you need to deal with. The fact that you have self-hatred within yourself, because when other black people that see a dark-skinned person, and so speak, it's a reminder of who we really are as being African people. It's a clear reminder of who we really are, being that we've been in America and in the position that we are, we have not come to terms of who we are, and we continue to search for an identity as a people,
Right.
and so forth. It's all a symptom of that. So, um, I would say that in a sense, in regards to darkism, people of lighter skin actually have more issues than the actual victims of a dark skinned person. Um, uh, Being victimized in that way. They have actually a stronger or more severe pathology within themselves that they don't want to deal with,
Mm.
because they can't deal with the fact of the self hatred within themselves, or to not deal with the fact that being dark is beautiful, you know, and they can't accept that. They have an issue with dealing with that,
Mm-hmm.
and so and they don't know how to. I'm gonna give you an example. Um, I had a 14-year-old female that was you know, I guess you could say biracial or mixed. Okay, she loved herself black black guys. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
she dated was she dated negative ones that were thugs, whatever. But she, whatever. However, she loved black guys. Don't matter how light or dark the guy was, she loved him. She
Mm-hmm.
could not stand black females, and the darker the female was, the
Ooh.
the more she would hate her.
That coming. I ain't see that coming. Uh-oh.
Yes, but like I told her, I've seen all types of scenarios, and so her issue, I had to literally, like, as a therapist, you train yourself to compose yourself to speak in a monotone manner, to have an even killed presentation and so forth. But one of the things that made me cringe when I heard her talking was that she would talk about not liking black women because why do their makeup on their skin look the way that why is their skin so shiny, and why are they wearing this type of hair and this. If you would have turned around, you would have thought you was talking to a straight up white woman, or just straight up someone that. And I had to tell this girl, I said, do you realize that you're black? Do you realize that your dad is black? Do you realize you have African ancestors? For you to be saying this is as if you think that you're, or do you think you're white? And I had to answer these questions that I knew she knew the answer to.
Ask you a question about her.
Yes,
Was there something that a black woman did to her specifically to
no,
make
she could not. She did not connect with black women because her mom was white, her grandmothers, every most females that she dealt with in her life were all white. She grew up in a white environment. her dad was not in her life. Her dad was the only black person that she really knew outside of her dating, or she liked black men or black guys. But she could not, on a social or bonding level or anything, she had a very difficult time dealing with black females, no matter if they were.
No black woman ever like attacked her or called her
No,
names
no,
or
never,
oh you
never.
just because see I'm trying to make sure because
Yeah,
sometimes people will dislike people for being abused. So
yes,
we ruling that out.
yes, that was ruled out. She never had she never had a relationship with a black female. Period. All of her friends that were girls were all white, but her male friends were black.
So that's and I guess that's why you the expert here because
Yeah,
that's mind-boggling to me. If someone has not done anything to you, attacked you verbally, attacked you physically, did something wrong to you, and you don't like them, that's you're a racist. That's correct. Because see, that's
yeah. There are two things. There's two things that I worked with her on that I felt contributed to her issue. Number one, um, her mother would never, or even her parents, grandmother because her grandmother was raising her and her her mom, who was on drugs and had a lot of issues, and so to speak. They never, they would, if she did something, if she did something, like, say for instance, they always reinforced to her that she was mixed. But if she did something bad, they'll say she was black.
oh wow.
So she constituted, don't be like these other black females,
I see. Okay.
in a stereotypical manner of
Okay.
what white people would think a black female, the law, a lot of, they stereotype the black woman for being oversexed, overly masculine, loud, out of control, hypersexual, all those types of things. And so some of those things, she was hypersexual, she was very promiscuous. And so when she did those type of things, don't be like those other black girls. So at one point, you relate her everything bad as being black, but when you good or doing whatever, where you mixed, in a
Okay.
sense. But
So
they would never tell her she was white, was
right.
which is what she really wanted to be, but would never, they would never accept her as that. Her own family wouldn't do that.
It sounds like an imitation of life, except she has a white mother. Where in the movie Imitation of Life, the young lady that didn't want to be black, she had a black mom. And now I'm
Exactly.
seeing the origin of this. It's her parents, her mom, that was doing this to her.
Yeah, mom and grandmother was just as
Wow.
another reason why she didn't like black females, because black females were in competition with her with other black men or black guys. So
Right.
she didn't like the competition because she didn't feel totally black or felt black at all. She felt like she was in competition with other black women to date guys. So therefore, she didn't like that. So she would speak very negative of black women in regards to that. Hello, are you there? I don't know. Maybe she had to speak to the maintenance guy.
Yes, I had
Are
to
you
speak
back?
to this guy. You can keep talking.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were there now, but yeah, she would relate. She didn't like competing with other black girls to date black guys, and so she thought very negative of that. I mean, and as I heard her talk about black women, she would say stuff like, why did their skin look so shiny with all that makeup on? Why is their hair like this, and they wear weave, and they do this, and da 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 da, all kinds of stereotypical stuff that she would say. And so I had to basically correct her on that, and I tried to help her be in tune with who she is as far as her identity as being having white and black ancestry, and her dealing with the fact that you know you are black in a sense, and other white people do look at you as such. And so the mindset that you're taking is a mindset that you don't want other people to look at you as, because um in looking at her, you would think, you would somewhat think that she may be mixed with something, but nine times, if the average black person would see her, you would think she was black. You would not just assume she was a white person. She was not that light that she would say pass, because all of the features of herself, she didn't have a lot of white features outside of her skin tone being light skinned, but she was not extremely, I would say, extremely light skinned. Her hair was kinky. She had a black texture of hair. She had dark brown eyes. She had thick lips. Her body was shaped just like a black woman's shape. She was kind of curvy in a sense, and so forth. And so forth. The tone of her voice um, was somewhat, I would say, maybe white the way she spoke, but that was more environmental in a sense. But that's the type of mindset that she had, and I had to basically instill in her the positives of being black, and how her behavior towards those was not appropriate, and that the way she was raised was wrong in that sense, and she had to be able to come into terms with the fact that she needs she has to work on these internal issues and these image issues that she have of herself. So it took a while for me to do that. She was probably in therapy for about a year or so, but we it was a hard case, but we had managed to improve.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. So two things I want to know, like, what was the like ultimate outcome of her therapy? Like, that's like a super
Okay.
story.
Well, I'm gonna say this. We had some rough areas because um she she actually began to accept that she was black. That she was black. She accepted that. She learned it's a lot of things that she basically what she knew about black people is what she learned from white people.
Mm.
So it was very different for her to learn these things from another black person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So particularly she wouldn't have worked out with a black female. If a black female was a therapist, it would have never worked. She had to have a black male. And her grandmother knew that. Her grandmother knew that because when she had issues in school, it was always with black girls. It was always with fighting black girls or whatever, what have you, or having issues or stuff with boys and stuff. So a black female wouldn't have worked. So what ended up happening is that it got very bad before it got better. She ended up running away from home like 2 or 3 times. She thought she was pregnant, but she wasn't. And so forth. She was dating this guy, maybe a few years older than her, that he was always in juvie, and he was just a bad, smoking weed and all this stuff. So when we disconnected her relationship with him,
Mm-hmm.
and we just was able to kind of have her stationary, she was able to see the ugliness in her behavior, and so she
Mm-hmm.
began to change. But let me tell you what ended up happening, and this was where I had to actually end therapy because of this. Even though at the point in which I did it, she had already improved. She disclosed to me when she began to improve in her behavior, like when I mean improving behavior, where she was no longer getting in fights.
Mm-hmm.
She actually uh bonded with a couple of girls at school, became friends with a couple of black girls.
Oh wow.
She ended up telling me that her grandmother called her nigger several times when she
Oh,
got angry. Yes, and I had to have a cooling off moment for a second
this
for
sounds
my
like to me just from everything that you
yeah,
talked about. This wasn't her fault. This was really the white women in her life fault.
exactly. But the fact that your grandmother called, and then the grandmother admitted when I confronted her about it, well, I only said it a couple of times, and I
You got to have a certain level of hate in your heart to sit there and know that you got a grandchild that has a black parent to sit there and call them a nigga. You got to have a certain level of hate in your heart. I don't care what nobody says.
Yes.
Do that.
And she tried to minimize the fact that, and so what ended up happening when I started confronting her and I started talking to her about their relationship, and I started including her in therapy sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started uncovering that, her family racist. And so you've had this girl grow up in this environment where your family don't like her. They've treated her like this. And so now I see where all this hatred comes from.
Well, how
and
did
so
her
when I started
with a black man?
uncovering that, huh?
How did her mom get hooked up with a black man?
Well, you know how that goes. You get, they some women, men and women, a lot of white women that date black men come from racist families. They're being, they'll do that. Like, say for instance, that basically being a teen. You know how teens are. Because that's when her mom started dating black guys. They start being very oppositional towards. They know their parents don't like black people, so they'll date a black guy to spite them, type of thing. A lot of white women do that. A lot of white women do that. They come from racist families, and they'll be the main ones trying to date a black guy. And so she was one of those type of women, and so so basically, when I started uncovering all of those things, the grandmother became uncomfortable. And so the issue was no longer about the daughter. It was about the grandmother and her family. Yep. After that, therapy ceased.
Oh, wow.
She didn't want to continue therapy. She took her out. She poured her out. And so
really?
I felt I did my job because I got her at the point where she needed to be, her granddaughter. But there were family issues that need to be dealt with. And so to me, hey, if they want to deal with that, my thing is I'm not going to beat around the bush just because you're paying me. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. I'm telling you, I take pride in what I do. And my job is to help you progress and heal from the issues that you're dealing with to accomplish the goals that you're seeking. I'm not going to pacify you so that you can continue coming to therapy. No, I'm not doing that. I don't operate. I'm ethical within my profession. I just refuse to do that.
Right. And for the people that just joined in, because people just continuously joining in on the Hangout, can you just kind of go over who you are again and your credentials, your YouTube channel as well?
Okay. Again, this is D. Durrell. You can check out my YouTube channel. It's called D. Durrell at the Practice. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas. I'm also a business owner of several counseling agencies throughout the state of Texas. I do provide outpatient therapy in the office. I also provide services in the community. And I also provide online counseling. I do, if you check out my channel, I do have information in which you would like to speak to me and have a consultation and so forth. We can definitely accommodate that for you. I do focus a lot on darkism issues. I deal a lot with depression, anxiety, psychosis, abuse, whether it's mental, physical, sexual, so to speak. I do a lot of things within the state and federal government as far as contracting. And for the most part, like I said, I love what I do. I'm using my channel to kind of reach out to people and to educate people more, particularly my own community in regards to the stigmas that I'm trying to get rid of in regards to mental health.
All right, got it. Okay, and what I'm doing now is I'm going to your channel and pulling it up, and I'm gonna put it in the chat box. And once again, the channel, guys, is D. Durrell. Hold on 1 second, because I'm pulling it up right now, and I'm just gonna drop it in the chat box here. And real quick, I just want to remind everybody that on next Saturday, A Dark Skin Woman's Revenge, my online dark skin play is going down. It's going to be online, and also if you're in Atlanta, you can watch it. You come out live and in person and see it in Atlanta. You can go to darkskinactivist.com, and all of the ticketing information is there, whether you want to watch it online or whether you want to come out in person. And also the day before the play, which is Friday, November 16th, I'm going to be doing a Darkism Talk in Atlanta at the Ancient African History Museum. And again, I can't stress enough that all the information is right on my website, darkskinactivist.com. All you got to do is go there and you'll see everything laid out neatly for you to purchase your ticket for if you want to watch the online show, or if you live in Atlanta, you want to come out and see it in person, or if you want to come to the Darkism Talk. Now, I want to you got like a bunch of interesting stories. This is an intriguing story coming from you as a psychotherapist about this this light skin, or I honestly I would not consider her black. Okay.
Yeah.
Not because it's not because I don't like her, and I'm glad that you explained that she didn't have like issues with black females for like doing something specifically to her, because that's the thing that I have heard a lot where people would say, well, I was attacked because I'm light skinned and I got good hair and all the boys like me, so the dark skinned girls attacked me. And I've never ever had an issue with a light skinned woman in regards to wanting to fight her or attacking her or being in competition with her for men. Me personally, that's never happened. Light-skinned biracial women have never been the issue for me in terms of me looking at them going, ooh, I don't like you because you're light-skinned, or ooh, I don't like you because you have so-called good hair. I had that issue. In fact, all throughout my school years, ironically enough, and people that follow me, they know I have a light-skinned best friend named Shamina. Shout out to Shamina. She light-skinned is all outdoors. Her light-skinned mother, may she rest in peace, she took me off the streets. I went from being homeless on the streets to getting a master's degree, and it was largely because of my light-skinned best friend's mother, Shamina. I have been best friends with light-skinned women, I don't know why, throughout my school years. I never had an issue with them. So that portion of it, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, there's not dark-skinned women that don't attack light-skinned women for being light-skinned and having the hair and having and attracting more black men, because I have people in my family that's happened to, and it's like, but it goes back and forth, because sometimes you might get people might feel that because you're a dark skinned female, we're gonna put you on the front lines and you can fight and you can get beat up and attacked, because
it don't matter. It don't matter for you. You're not valued the same as what you're saying.
Exactly. I had that situation happen to me. I'll never forget. Like I just talked about my light-skinned best friend, Shamina. I'm gonna bring her up on here one day and let y'all talk to her. She crazy as hell. I love her to death. But her mother, it was because of her that I was able to, I moved in with them. I got my GED. I got my CNA license. I went to college. It was because of her. She's one of the sweetest damn people I ever met in my life. And she's super light-skinned. But here's what happened, ironically enough. The light-skinned people in my family were not nice like Dita. That's her name. May she rest in peace. They weren't nice and sweet like her. I'll never forget when I got myself together and got an apartment, I got a job. I wasn't getting in trouble, wilding out as a dark-skinned woman, ended up in jail somewhere. I was on the right track. I have a person, I'm not going to say their name, in my family that was in high school. And she was getting attacked. She was, because she was light-skinned, cute, and the guys liked her on the football team. I'll never forget, they called me and wanted me to go out there and take the battle scars and fight these girls. Now I know that's darkism, because you felt like I'm dark skinned. I'm not about
it's okay if you get beat up and get bruised up. Well, we can't let the pretty light light skin girl get scratched up.
Exactly. But so they wanted me to go out to the school after I got my GED, got myself off the street, got an apartment. All this stuff was very difficult for me to do coming from my background. You want me to put all that at risk, and I had just bought myself a new car. You want me to go out to this high school and fight these girls and get myself in trouble? That's because you feel that I'm the same because I'm dark. I'm like, what the hell is this? I had to cut off some of my family members. I want you to kind of talk about that dynamic of the darkism that comes from the devaluation.
What I'm gonna say, first of all, I would have told him I ain't kiss my ass, but on that one,
I did.
Because I there's no way you're gonna have me as the sacrificial lamb for somebody else, really. But okay. But in regards to that, it's funny you said that, because I actually witnessed similar situations in high school where there were I talked to you about Louisiana in regards to the population of Creole people that live in Louisiana,
Mhm.
and how that culture in itself, as far as people being, coming from a Creole lineage and so forth, and how they perceive themselves and the historical ramifications of that. So I encountered situations where there were, as far as I never really had issues getting along with light skinned females, but there were light skinned females that would tell me they would not date a dark skinned guy. I even
Mhm.
had that happen a couple of times in college, but I've never was necessarily, let's say, treated bad, so to speak, in a sense. But I have seen guys who would say or make jokes about, um like, say for instance, a light skinned girl that didn't like some girl that was dark skinned, or they were like didn't like each other or something like that. They would actually say, something about something like, "Oh no, don't fight. She's ugly. She ain't got nothing to lose. You don't want to mess up your pretty face, or things like that." So they would discourage a light skinned girl to fight on account of her, getting beat up or getting bruised up, so to speak, and they would be okay if another black chick would fight, or two black chicks would fight that were really dark. They wouldn't care who as far as their physical appearance being damaged. They cared less in regards to if their dark skin was in any way tarnished in a sense. And they would make jokes. They would make jokes and say little crazy stuff, but I have witnessed other guys say stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I was a perfect victim of that, and it, like I said, it happened in my family, and everybody knew what my struggle was. They knew that I came from a disadvantaged background and had to struggle to make something of myself, and they didn't care. They hopped on the phone. I don't know how they found my number. I'll never forget it. I had this person call me and basically tell me I needed to go to the bus stop and fight these girls. Like,
Wow.
sacrificial lamb. She did
No.
not want her daughter fighting these because she was too pretty. It's darkism. It goes back to, for example, these teachers that some of these white teachers who have dated their students. They said there's one teacher in Tampa a couple of years ago. They said she's too pretty to go to prison. Oh my God, it's such devaluation
Yes,
of
of darkness, of
women,
dark skin.
and it's in so many. Darkism intertwines itself. It's real sneaky. You
Yes.
have to like really be paying that's why I'm the dark skin activist.
It's
Everybody know what it is.
we have to be very, very cognizant of language, because people are not aware of the language that they use, in which it comes across a certain way, to say stuff like she's too pretty to whatever, because she's light skinned and so forth. But you're dark, it don't matter. You can just go and you know get beat up, and it don't really matter. Who gives a damn? In a sense. But we the language that we use in regards to dark, light, white, uh, you know, lighter being better and dark assumed not as good. Those are things people casually say and don't really think about the damage in their language. That we don't think about that. And my job as a therapist to make people aware of those labels and those phrases that have monumental consequences,
Right.
to someone's self-esteem. So um because again, you can always hear black and ugly, but you don't hear black and beautiful as much, as validated as much.
And even with the so-called black, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm denigrating the struggles of the past and the people that have fought, but with the Black is Beautiful movement, even when we talk about the Black is Beautiful movement, I don't feel that it had the impact that it should have had on dark-skinned people, because even when we look at the Black Panther Party, and I love the Black Panther Party for what,
Uh-huh.
but if you look at the people that are at the forefront of the Black Panther Party, I'm talking about the women to this day who
They're
are
light. They're
popular,
light skinned.
they're light skinned.
Yeah.
Kathleen Cleaver, super light skinned, at the forefront.
Angela Davis.
Angela Davis at the forefront. Tupac Shakur's mom, may she rest in peace. Okay, she was known, but I think that was more because she was the mother of Tupac Shakur. but it's the lighter. It's another I can't think of it's another lady that speaks on college campuses, and she's not like she's kind of like she has that type of Indian type of looking skin tone.
There's another Panther that's in Cuba, that's in exile in Cuba. I forgot her name. She's
Yes, I know
dark,
who you're talking about.
huh?
I know who you're talking about. Her name.
She's in Cuba. She's another one that dark brown in a sense. They won't let her in the country, or she's trying to hide out. She's been hiding out in Cuba, but yeah, most of the women, a lot of the women were lighter skinned as far as that were in the Black Panther Party, at that time. So,
but they were putting there's a brother on Facebook that a couple of years ago he sent me a picture of a dark skinned, very dark skin. Her name is Stephanie. I can't remember her last name, but she was in the Black Panther Party, and she was one of the rare darker skinned women that was kind of like in the forefront of the black.
Yeah, doing major roles in the party.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing that when I talk about dark skin activism, when I was looking for somebody to talk specifically on dark skin issues in the 90s, and as I was a teenager and growing into my adulthood, nobody was there. One of the things that I did is I went into Black movements looking for them to speak about it, and they never addressed it. They never addressed the specific question of how dark-skinned people are treated, and I saw the favoritism, the darkism, the colorism in the movements.
Yes,
and I was like, it shocked me because I guess I was naive, being so young. Yeah. I was thinking that I'm going to come into a Black movement and I'm going to be accepted as a dark-skinned nappy. But I found the same BS going.
Some of the same pathologies.
Yeah.
And also, I also want you to point out also too, historically Black colleges were known for that greatly within, even to this day, at Southern University, the Dancing Dolls, which is the famous little female, like the little dancing group for football, most of those women are light skinned. Matter of fact, I remember a young lady that I took a math class with. She was from Atlanta, and she was dark skinned.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a big issue about her. She was probably the first dark skinned girl. This was back in 96, maybe 95, 96. Mm-hmm. She was probably the first really dark skinned dancing doll.
Oh, wow.
And this was back in 1995, 96. She was from Atlanta, and I remembered they had made a big issue. A lot of people had made some issues about her being a dancing doll, how she made the team, because she looked totally different from the other girls who looked light skinned or damn near white, for the most part. It was almost like the AKAs for that brown bag, methods and so forth. But and to be honest with you, a lot of dancing dolls are AKAs. A lot of them are, or a lot of those ladies that are in Black colleges that are cheerleaders. A lot of them are in sororities that have that type of thing going on. But I never forget, I was about 18, 19 years old, and we took a math class. And I remember when she made the team, she came to class, she was happy about it. And then I remember a couple of weeks later, a guy was telling me about they were looking to kick her off the team, and then some other administrators basically convinced them not to do it because she could have sued the university for that.
For being dark skinned?
She could have sued them for discrimination or something. It's something they were saying. At the time, I was like 19.
Right.
She was going to do something legally if she would have gotten kicked off, because she had threatened them with a lawsuit if they would have taken her off the team without just cause. Because they didn't have a real, they couldn't say, we're going to take you off the team because you're too dark. But she was going to say, it was going to be like a women's discrimination type lawsuit or something that she was going to threaten them with. And they kept her on the team. But I mean, she was a beautiful girl, beautiful young lady. I mean, but that did happen. I remember that happening. Wow. It was crazy because, at the same time, myself, because I grew up in a town, a small town that was probably 50-50 Black and white. However, everything that was operating on was by white people, for the most part. The school that I went to, I probably had 3 Black teachers between kindergarten and 12th grade. So that was my reason for going to a black college. And so for me, a person wanting to go to a black college because of not liking to be in a white school and everything was white, everything. And
Right.
so I wanted to go and get that experience being in a black university, seeing things owned, operated, and controlled and done by black people. I was kind of like disappointed and shocked for me to even hear something like I was like I could have went to a white school to, to, to get to hear something like that. But yeah, that was very disappointing. But she threatened them with a lawsuit and they ended up keeping her on the team. But I mean I feel she looked good. I didn't see her issue, but that did come up.
Yeah, I mean, it's I always make the argument that darkism impacts the female more than it does the man, because when we talking about power in America, we are talking about power for women is really based on their looks. I mean, that's sad, but it's true. I mean, women, there's a lot of women that's going around here saying, "Oh, I got my degree and this and that," and I'm very happy that you have your degree and you educated. I have mine too. Yay. But when you walking down the street, a man is not going, "Oh, she got a degree." A man is looking at how you look. Men are
Exactly.
simple as that. So, I mean, the darkism aspect of it really, and sometimes I know with myself personally, it has taken black men and dark-skinned black men a long time to like me. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's so true. It's taken a long time, and because it takes maturity with to like as far as in my experience is concerned, it takes maturity for a black man to like a dark-skinned woman. They'll usually do it when not all of the black men, but they'll usually wait till they get older, and then it's like, oh, I see you.
Yeah, like you finally come to realization.
Oh,
of that.
Like, wait a minute, I've been here for the longest. I've been cute. I've been, I've been a nice woman. Going back to this whole masculinity thing with the Sunday Rumble, I want to just throw that in real quick. How the one brother on there, he just told me flat out, I'm less feminine than the light-skinned woman, because that's how he feels in general about dark-skinned women, I believe. But not knowing who I am and not knowing that, my father was in the Nation of Islam for 30 plus years and is very well known in St. Petersburg and set up a lot of mosques. And being around Muslims, if anybody has been around Muslim people, they know that Muslim women, black women, these are submissive, nice, kind, and I was around that. So that's how I grew up. And I was married for 10 years to a dark-skinned black man who I was very submissive in my own personal life. I know how I am. So it's like, you don't even know me. Like you listening to how I talk and how I'm coming across. That's because of
they have to take you. They have to take you personally out of the context of you and activism.
Exactly.
Because those are two different roles in which you're operating. You're not going to be, Rashida the wife and then act the same way Rashida as you in your active. That's totally different.
And a black man is not gonna. Let me tell you something. I was married for 10 years. I'm the one that filed for the. But let me tell you something. A black man is not getting ready. From my experience, my father was married. I saw the interaction between my father and his wife. I know what it is between the black male. Is not going to deal with a woman if she don't have some level of submissiveness in her. Okay, I have it. Yes. I more than the chick that's on the. I don't need your class, honey, because the honest truth is, and it took a while, like I said before, for black men to see the value. But once they saw it, beating down my door. That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they know how I am, the type of woman that I am. The real deal.
Yeah.
It's like, go ahead.
And but my thing is that that though, and so it's not really necessary to kind of explain. You don't have to convey. If they're not intelligent enough to understand the difference, then that's the issue they have to deal with. Because you can't stereotype all black dark skinned women for being masculine. Like really, like then I have to question what environments are you meeting these type of women? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I have to question where where are you meeting these women for you to have that type of opinion? That has to be in question. But that's just me.
Exactly. They're what they're doing, I think, a lot of times is just putting the label of masculinity off on a dark-skinned woman because she's dark-skinned. And I think it goes all the way back to slavery, where the women were oftentimes treated like the man, where we had to work.
Yeah.
Same thing. And so because we were dark-skinned, it's like, okay, we gonna class the dark-skinned woman in the same class as the black man, even though she's a female, and we know that she gives birth. We know that she has a menstruation. We know that, she's a female, but we're still gonna put her in this class because we need to propel notions of white femininity. That's another part that it has. They got to uphold a white woman, and as a result, and this is all a part of darkism. It's all about a part of the darkism hierarchy. In order to uphold a white woman, they got to denigrate dark-skinned black women. It's like,
exactly, and that's part of white supremacy.
Votes for everything, from going back, like you said, the comedy with the jokes. With if you want to gain popularity in school, you got to go on. We just scapegoats for every freaking thing, and it's like, this has got to stop, because this is not the reality of it. When you really
because we still as a people have difficulty coming in tune with being African people. And we even though only a small percentage of African Americans truly connect as far as being African. If you ask the average black person, are you African? Even though we say we African American, they'll say, no, I'm not African, I'm black. And that's like an oxymoron. Like that, if you're gonna say black and African is one and the same, you can't say you one without being the other. Right. But they will actually say that. And that's why I say you have to be very conscious of the language in which people say, because they're saying that and not cognizant that they're incorrect. But it's seen as being the right thing to say, or it's the correct terminology to use in regards to differentiating yourself with indigenous African people, which actually genetically is no difference outside of us having maybe some due to slavery, due to our black women being raped during slavery. But other than that, there's no genetic difference.
Right. I agree.
But so that's just that's unfortunately we being the scapegoat or the being beaten on and things like that. It's unfortunate that particularly dark be victimized in that sense. In a sense, in that way.
And I just also want to say that I'm actually tired of darkism in regards to continuing to have to speak about it and speak out against it. It's not something, a lot of people may think that that I'm enjoying this. I would like to just wake up and just live and be
not have to deal with that
person. Honestly, yeah. I would like to wake up and have a real, true, equal opportunity with no underlying racism or darkism. I would like to be able to get an education and use that education and really be able to be what I want to be. And when I say we, I'm speaking in terms of I want to see this for all black people in general, dark people in particular. To really just be without all the extra added is. But so, for example, we talk about real quick. I want to throw this in. I can your feelings about this. Andrew Gillum, the man that ran for governor in Florida. My humble opinion, he's a victim of darkness because there's never been a black governor. Never. Stacey Davis ran for governor in Georgia. Never been a black female governor.
Yeah.
Georgia, and I believe these two people are victims of darkism, especially when we look at things like, let me just throw this out here. And I turned out, I voted for Andrew Gillum. Andrew Gillum has a beautiful dark-skinned wife. He's a black, all the way dark-skinned man. And I believe that he's sincere, and I believe that he's definitely damn sure qualified.
Very qualified.
The debate that he had with his opponent, he beat him in the debate. Okay.
Every debate, he beat him in every debate.
Right. There was but in Florida, this is the darkism, and darkism can be inflicted by anybody, white, black, dark skin. But this is the darkism that's been going on in Florida that's been inflicted by non-black people for years. So one of the things that happened was, the Republicans, I believe that they were a part of this, Republicans and people that support the Republican candidate were calling people speaking in the black or slavery dialect.
Yeah.
Trying to convince people not to vote for Andrew Gillum. You see what I'm saying? And then Brent Kemp, I believe is his name, who's running against Abrams. This man is the Secretary of State, and by default, he's over elections as a part of being the Secretary of State. But that's a conflict of interest when you know that you handling the elections. You should have stepped down. See, these right here are the intricate parts of darkism that rear its ugly head when you see black people come out and step out into roles of leadership. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
These are the things I have a big problem with. I believe that the voting in Florida was rigged. I believe that Andrew Gillum actually did win. There's a lot of uncounted votes.
Oh, wow.
And so they're doing recounts right now. This is darkism, where dark-skinned people are not getting their fair shake. And I'm not talking about, one dark-skinned person at a time. I'm not talking about, and as bad as I wanted Andrew Gillum to win, God knows I did. But I'm looking at it on a level of all black people and all darks. But things like this, when it happens, it impedes our life chances. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it goes into this notion of when people say, oh, you could be whatever you want to be when you grow up. Can a black or a dark-skinned person really be that person and have
you got to be 3 times, or like they'll say, you have to be, like when I grew up, you have to be twice as good as the white person.
That's dark. This is what I'm saying. And
like
in a perfect world, Andrew Gillum is twice as good as DeSantis. He's better than you. He's superior than you. So why isn't he governor?
Yeah.
Darkism. Give me your perspective on that. I gotta stop because I'm getting emotional about that.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's the truth, because it was any sane person in those debates could have saw that Andrew Gillum was in a whole league of himself. DeSantis, whatever his name is, that guy sounded illiterate. He didn't sound like he knew the issues.
Right.
Outside of him being white or whatever he is, that was his only qualification that got him to win that governorship, because everything else he said didn't make no sense. He did not seem educated on the issues of Florida. He just didn't. He just didn't seem confident. He didn't come out. He just seemed like, I'm white, I'm here, vote for me. That's basically how it came out to me. I don't need to do anything. All I got to do is just show up and I should win. That's how it came off to me. Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. That's the deep-seated darkism that is institutional or that's systemic, that keeps black people in general and dark-skinned people in particular from succeeding. It's the myth of where they lying to these children in school. We got to stop lying, telling them, oh, you can be whatever. Yeah, you can be whatever you want to be. I would agree with that. But the darker skinned person, the black person, got to, like you said, why is it that we have to fight 10 times as harder? That's not fair. That's not fair. And then another thing, I want to throw this out here real quick too. There's a darker skinned doctor that was in the news, I believe, about 2 weeks ago. He is an MD. And she saw that a passenger on a plane was going through some type of distress medical issue. Common sense, she's an MD, she went to go help the person. And the flight attendants was badgering her about, are you really a doctor?
I did hear about that. I did hear about that.
This stuff is insane. This is what I'm saying, where you can't just wake up and be. Even if you went to school and you went through all these years of schooling, you worked your ass off, you did everything they told you to do in America, you still can't just be. And this is my problem with darkism. This is my problem with racism. This is the underlying stuff that people, even up at the upper echelons of society, where we think that they done made it, they haven't really made it. If you got to be questioned about your credentials and your hard work that you done went in and put in, and I know because I went to the University of South Florida, I was up in them classes. I was the only Black, dark-skinned female in the political science program. And I know I'm smarter than you. Yeah. I knew I could beat you in a debate because I actually read the book. I knew the theories. I knew it like the back of my hand. So why you think you better than me? Why you think you deserve the job over me? Happened. I saw it. This enrages me because it's not fair. And what are we saying to the children that's in school? I remember going back to my days in school where people always say, oh, you can be whatever you, but then they didn't tell me that this was going to happen. They didn't tell me, like you talked about earlier, you was the best man for the job. You thought you was going to get the promotion, but you didn't get it. So you had to go out and venture out and start your own business, which was a great thing. But why I got to be like, why do people got to lie to us? This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about darkism. And I'm just getting sick of it. I am like so sick of it. It's just like so not fair. You know you done the work. You know you got the credentials. You know you got the passion. You know you can do it. But people want to come and tell you, they want to suppress you. And you have to fight. You have to be like an extra added layer that other people, white people may not have to deal with, or a non-dark skinned person may not have to deal with. But you as a darker skinned person, you're gonna have to have an extra added layer of mental capabilities to help you deal with this portion of discrimination.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's true. You have to be good plus almost have to be extraordinary in a sense. You know, it's not fair. Unfortunately, I think it's important that we create our own opportunities for ourselves, and that in the institutions that we create, we don't reinforce those same behaviors. Right. And so that we give another person that's dealing with darkism or whatever, we give them the shot. We hire those people, and we allow them to be effective and show their talents without having those barriers. Right. So it's important that we create those things for ourselves so that people can have those opportunities. And that's one of the reasons why I went into business for myself, because I wasn't going to be dealing with this. I felt like, again, like you said, you go to school all those years, you go through all this training and get all this education and experience, and on account because of the way you perceive the way I look or whatever, you think that I'm not, I'm disqualified because of that. Right. I can't deal with that. I would rather do my own thing. Let somebody else have it. I'd rather create my own and go through that. Because I refuse to be marginalized like that the rest of my career. I just refuse to do it.
Absolutely. And yeah. So y'all know I gotta I gotta get out of here because I gotta go pick up because it's almost time for her to get out of school. But what I wanted to sort of close out on is being that you're a dark-skinned man, you've experienced darkism, you know what it is, and plus you are a psychotherapist, and that's your expertise. Mental health, the mental health of, you understand the mental health impact on dark-skinned people, even non-skinned people. So could you just kind of like close with some advice on what we could do to continue to sustain ourselves and to keep fighting? Because it's truly a mental fight. That's what I have learned. It's a mental fight. And then can you also, once again, let people know how they can get in contact with you as well?
Okay. Again, I'm going to talk about things in which I reinforce and teach and model within therapy and the type of therapies that I use, because a lot of what I do is self-esteem building. And so I think that one of the ways in which you deal with things and deal with darkism is to that you're not going to win every fight, and you have to know, and within yourself, you have to basically internally let yourself know that I am beautiful, I am good, and you have to search within yourself to identify the good qualities that you have of yourself and play those qualities on a day-to-day basis. And so and also that I also are people that when you're interacting with other you because of that um that you can be intelligent, civil, without being stereotypical in a sense, you know. And I say, and sometimes it may be difficult for you not to show anger and so forth, but anger is not the only ways of dealing with conflict. And I want to encourage people to be to use your intellect and to be as articulate as possible in expressing yourself. And also, for there are people who engage in darkism that don't know it.
Mm.
Educating others and letting them know of the things that they're saying that are insensitive. Don't assume or that a person understands what they're doing, because some don't. And also, if they do, identify it and tell them. Don't let them get away with that, because if you allow people to say things and get away with it, they're going to continue to do so. Okay. And so, and again, more last but not least, you just have to learn to love yourself and show your love for yourself. You have to love yourself first before other people can see that within yourself.
All right. And can you tell us once again, people that might want to get in contact with you, because
Okay.
you're providing a great service for
Okay.
Black people that is much needed. How can they
Okay.
get in contact with you? And
Hello?
I'm here. I'm still here.
Okay. You can go to my website if you want to learn more about me. I have a website that's www.transitionallifecounselingandconsultation.com. Transitional Life Counseling and Consultation is my company name. Um, I do have my information on there where you'll read about my locations, my services, the mental health services that I provide. You can also
Transitional life. Say that again.
Transitional Life Counseling and Consultation.com. And it'll pull up the website.
Okay, I'm typing it in right now, and then I'm gonna put it in the description box here. So
okay, and you can look up information in regards to me, and also my staff and the services that we provide. You can also look at my YouTube channel, which is D Durrell at the practice, and you can look up information, and also will give you contact information if you're needing consultation or any type of therapeutic services, whether it's online or in person or over the phone.
Okay, so I just pulled up the website here, and I just put it in the chat box. So once again, guys, that's Transitional Life Counseling and Consultation.com. I pulled it up. I put it in the chat box. So make sure y'all reach out. And I definitely want to thank you for coming to this conversation, because I think it's going to help people to better. And so I'm very appreciative of it. And real quick, y'all know I want to just remind y'all again, next Saturday, November 17th at 7 p.m., I'm going to be doing my play, A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge, in Atlanta. And if you live in Atlanta, you can come out and see it in person. If you don't live in Atlanta, you can watch it from anywhere in the world. Just go to my website, darkskinactivist.com, darkskinactivist.com, and make sure you go ahead and get your tickets. And also, the day before the show, I want to let everybody know I'm going to be doing a Darkism Talk. I'm just quickly going to my website here. So the Darkism Talk is going to be at the Ancient African History Museum, and the location is 675 Metropolitan Parkway 3118-B. And as you can see, we're on the website right here. So the first box here is for people that want to watch it online. You can buy your tickets here. The second box is for people that want to come out in person in Atlanta. You can purchase your tickets here. And the third box is for people that want to come to the Darkism Talk. Also, real quick, if you want to make a donation to help me to produce the show, because I'm a self-producing independent artist, you can go to my GoFundMe right here and make a donation. or you can go to my PayPal. I've dropped all that information in the chat box. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I appreciate y'all. I want to thank D. Darrell one more time for coming on. And let me, while I'm here sharing my screen, this is his website. Once again, Transitional Life Counseling and Consultation.com. It's right here. And once again, let me just go to your channel. This is the channel right here, D. Darrell. Make sure you go and subscribe. I just click the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. I just hit the notification bell, as you guys can see. And I want to thank y'all so much for watching. And I hope you guys have a fantastic afternoon. Once again, darkskinactivist.com. My show is going down next Saturday, November 17th. I cannot wait. So thank y'all. It's the world's first and only dark skin activist, Rashida Strober, the creator, the inventor, the architect of the first platform in history for dark skin, known as dark skin activism. So I want to thank y'all for watching, and y'all have a fantastic afternoon.
Great day.